Hello class. So today we're starting with partial quotient division. And let's talk about the parts of a division problem. So we have the dividend, and we divide it into the divisor, and this equals the quotient. So writing the problem this way tends to be a little more difficult. So we tend to write it so we have the divisor on the outside, the dividend on the inside with the quotient on the top. So if we were to place this with numbers, we would have, say, 1,798 written first, and it would be on the inside. And then our divisor of 29 would be written second or written on the outside. And then our top is our quotient. Another word for quotient is answer. But when we're doing division, usually we ask for the quotient. Okay? So let's do this problem. 1,798 divided by 29. All right, so we're going to start here, right? Looks a little more, we have a longer tail here. We didn't have that before, but this is because we're working with a partial quotient. All right, so we're not trying to find an exact answer. This is probably a method your parents haven't seen. So we're going to start with doing some multiplication facts on the side. All right, so I'm going to start with 30 times 2, and that equals 60. Well, I just rounded 29 up to 30. So if I were to do it as 29, that would actually be 2 less, which would be 58, okay? So it was just a little quicker to do it that way and subtract 2. So if I do 30 times by 4, that gives me 120. Well, I'm going to subtract 4 and get 116 for 29, okay? All right, so moving on. So 29 times 20, okay, I just added a 0, 580, okay? And 29 times 50, well, I did 29 times by 5 and then added a 0, so that's 1,450, okay? So let's do 29 times 60 because this wasn't big enough. And this is starting to get a little bit bigger, and I can't necessarily do it as quickly in my head. So we're going to quickly write it down here. So 60 times by 29. So 9 times 0 is going to be 0, and 9 times 6 is going to be 54, okay? Then we got to do our 0 placeholder, right? And we're going to do 2 times, going to be 0, and that's going to be 12. And then we're going to add that up, and that's going to give us 1640. All right. There we go. So I'm looking over here, and this is 1,798. This seems to be quite a bit smaller, not too much smaller, but you know what? I think it looks good. I'm going to go ahead and go with 60 over here and subtract the 1,640. So we have 8, 4, and 1. So it gave us 158. All right, so now I'm looking back over here. 20 is way too big, but 4, I have 116. But you know, I think I could still add 29 and be under the 158. Let's do that. So that's going to be 145, okay? So if we subtract that, that gives us 13. But wait, 13 is smaller than 29. 29 isn't going to go into 13. So this is going to be our remainder. And we're going to need to add these numbers on the side, and we're going to get 65. That's going to give us 65 with a remainder of 13. Okay? So this is how you do partial quotient. It doesn't matter if you have to add a lot of different numbers over here. When you eventually add them all up, as long as you line them up, it's going to give you the correct answer. All right? So let me know if you have any questions. I hope to hear some feedback in the discussions. Thank you.